Two new laws are quietly moving through Sacramento, AB 1248 and SB 381, and if you own a rental property in California, you need to know what's coming. These bills could prohibit you from charging utilities, adding new language into your lease, and even force you to provide certain types of maintenance. At the end of this video, I'm gonna give you an easy way to take action to help protect our housing provider community, so make sure to stick around till the end. All right, so let's talk about AB 1248. Sounds very similar to AB 1482. Anyway, they're trying to confuse us, but it seems like it's just about services and fees, but this bill would make it nearly impossible to start charging utilities to your tenant if they're not already being charged in the original lease. So let's say you include utilities right now, and next year you decide, hey, my water bill is really high, they're using a lot of water, I wanna pass it on to the tenant through the RUB system, ratio utility billing system. That would likely be off the table unless it was written in the lease from day one. Worse, under this bill, they redefined rent to include things like trash, pest control, hot water, laundry. And get this, if any of these services are removed, like let's say you have pest control and you cancel it, or you have shared laundry and you get rid of it, that could be treated as a rent increase under California's Tenant Protection Act. Rent increases are heavily restricted under that law, and this could open you up to lawsuits even if you didn't raise rent by $1. All right, so let's talk about the other bill, SB 381, which is the Senate bill. The other bill is an Assembly bill. So this is going on in both chambers. First thing it would do is lower the rent cap across the state. And right now the rent cap is 5% plus inflation for properties under AB 1482 with a maximum of 10%. Under this bill, it would drop it to 5% plus inflation capped at 8%. But it's not just rent caps. You'd also be required to put your rent increase formula in your lease. So you have to show the tenant how you came up with the number through some formula. Landlords don't have that. They just look at the market, they look at their expenses, and they adjust accordingly. Having to define a formula, what if you get it wrong? You could be exposed to lawsuits or disputes. The bill also says you'd have to include a tenant rights summary in every lease, which I don't know what that is, but most tenants don't even read the leases they have. They're 50, 60 pages because of all of these laws. And if you don't include it, you could be sued or the lease could be invalidated. They also say something about including habitability standards, like raising the bar for things like pest control. It could mean you'd be required to have mandatory pest control or required new inspections and report that to the city or the state. So to top it off, SB 381 gives cities more money and power to investigate tenant complaints and fine landlords, even if you're just trying to run a clean operation and make mistakes that no regular person can keep up with because all these laws are always changing and are so onerous. Hey, real quick community, if you find this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe. It lets YouTube know that this show is important to landlords, and so we'll get it out to more landlords who may not even know these bills are coming. All right, so those are the two bills passing through the Assembly and the Senate. So what does this mean big picture? We know that these bills are not designed to protect tenants. They're designed to kind of fundamentally change the system of rental property in California. Basically take away private property rights, make the system more unhealthy, because we know what this economy needs, what this market needs is more rental houses, not more laws. It makes the system more unhealthy, less landlords rent, prices actually go higher. So that's one good news for you as a landlord. Property values will go higher with all these bills. You can just look at San Francisco, New York, Chicago, all the places with the highest rent control have the highest property values. So those that stick it out will win, but you've got to stay educated and you've got to navigate this stuff together. All right, so what is the author of this bill trying to do? They're saying that they want to make rent simpler and not allow landlords to charge certain fees that drive up the costs. But by forcing everything into one lump sum payment and not giving flexibility to change the terms of the lease, you only restrict a housing provider's ability to make a profit. And if someone isn't profitable, they will leave the business or they'll find different ways to make a profit. And likely if they leave the business, which would be the most likely option, there's not a house for someone to live in. So I don't know where all of this government overregulation is heading, but it seems to be heading in just complete government control of what you can do with your house. And as long as they don't force you to rent it, which actually some counties are talking about penalties if you were even to take your house off the rental market, then it's going to just exacerbate an already bad problem and make the market more unhealthy and bad for everybody. Every year, Sacramento introduces more bills to protect tenants. How many tenant protections do we need? Especially when they're written by people who usually have never run a rental property in their life. California voters have rejected bills like this in rent control in the last election and previous elections, but they just want to continue to squeeze and just keep passing these things one at a time. So here's what we got to do. We can't stay silent, we got to stay educated, and we got to make our voice heard. We've made it easy to tell Sacramento to stop. There's a link in the description where you can go and take action and tell your local politician that enough is enough. The link will allow you to send a letter to your assembly member. It's pre-written. You can customize it if you want. It takes less than a minute. Thank you, Southern California Rental Housing Association, for putting it together. Please take action on that and drop a comment below and let us know you did. Or if you have questions or if you've been negatively impacted by similar legislation, love to hear your story. Please drop a comment. Thanks for watching. Thanks for standing up for our housing provider community and our greater community at large. We'll see you next time.